Good morning, everybody, here in person as well as those who are online. We'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order, please. And we'll do the attendance.
Thank you. Can I put it online there, it's okay? Make sure you're
Be a little bit louder.
And we can hear that.
You can be louder. Okay, I'll come to the center. All right, so Richard Fedias,
Present.
Lawson Picasso, Diana Martinez.
Present.
Frank Gonzalez, Cliff Soloway, Raquel Zapata, Adelita Cantu, John Kelly,
Here.
Tom Corser,
Here.
Vanessa Alvarado, Bill Day.
Here.
Steve Burnett,
Here.
Andrew Clapsaddle,
Here.
Bob Zapata,
I'm
Aaron Stein.
Present.
Oh, Bob's here. Good. Okay. Okay, Chair, we have a quorum.
All right, that's quite an accomplishment for July. So we're glad to know that everybody decided to show up. So that's great. All right, we'll move down to the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
We thank you for the many blessings you have freely given to each of us. We ask for your presence to guide this meeting of the CPS Energy Citizens Advisory Committee. Provide them with the knowledge, compassion, and wise counsel needed as they discuss the business matters on the agenda today. Help us all to remember that we are stewards acting on behalf of our customers and provide us with the grace to serve all people well. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Just a moment, once the flag is up on the screen, there we are. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
All right, our next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the June 4th meeting. Do you have any comments or changes to that, to those minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of June 14th.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I believe our first topic then is to discuss the energy burden and bill relief process as the agency deals with the fact that we do have a lot of outstanding bills.
So our speaker is on her way. And as she's making her way, what I do want to point out is I know this is a new room for us. So I just want to point out that if you need to, look for the restrooms, you're going to go out this door, make a right, and take it to the end of the hallways, and you'll see one on the left and one on the right. Okay. Let me check in regarding our speaker. Go ahead and continue enjoying your lunch.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, we have I believe a new committee member that
Right.
we might want to introduce.
we'll go ahead and do that. It's a good idea. That's why you're such a good chairman. Yes, I would like to introduce Aaron Stein. Aaron is a new at-large appointee. Just cover real quickly some of Aaron's background, and then you can elaborate on this, Aaron. He's currently the project manager at Pacific Northwest National Lab, focused on energy and climate resiliency, which would be perfect for somebody on the CAC committee, I would think. Welcome for that. Previously, you've had other roles where you dealt with energy and sustainability. So rather than me wander through this, why don't we let you have a moment, Aaron? We welcome you to the CAC and would be happy to let you give us a little update on your background.
Sure, thank you. Really appreciate being here. I've been interested in the CAC for some time, so I'm very grateful and happy to be here. As you mentioned, working in the energy and climate resiliency space, I've been doing energy management for at least 10 years now, in different roles at SAIC and then the city of San Antonio, even in the private sector. And it's just something I really enjoy. And it also is, I've been lucky enough to find, job security in that field too. So I'm from San Antonio. I'm really pleased that CPS Energy is allowing members of the community to be a part of a group like this. I hope I can bring a lot and a good perspective to the group, but I also want to learn from all of you and see how I can be a productive member. So I'm a try to be a good listener. So I may not be the most vocal person, but I'll try to add feedback when I feel like it'll be helpful. So thank you. Nice to meet all of you.
Good.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Happy to have you. I think if it's anything, if your experiences at all like mine has been the last couple of 3 years, it's you're going to be drinking from a fire hose. There's a lot of complexity to the energy production and distribution business, more so I think than probably I realized, and probably more than what the average citizen really realizes. There's an awful lot to it. It's very complicated. The market,
Sure, Dan.
ERCOT market,
Oh, I'm sorry.
the ERCOT market is pretty complex, and so anyway, I think you'll serve us well with your background. We're happy to have you, Dr. Cantu.
I was just going to say, would it be worthwhile for us, since we're waiting anyway, to go and just introduce ourselves?
Sure, that's fine. Since you started, Dr. Cantu, we'll let you start.
Thank you. My name is Adelita Cantu, and I'm an assistant professor at the School of Nursing, the Health Science Center, and have been working with CPS in different arenas for the past couple of years, I guess. Yes, thank you and welcome.
Go ahead and do the folks here at the table, and then we'll catch whoever else is online. Diana?
I am Diana Guerra Martinez. I am the development manager for the Mexican American Civil Rights Institute. And I have been on the CAC since 2018. I represent District 3. And I am the chair-elect after our wonderful John Kelly.
I'm Tom Corser. I represent District 9 currently. And I've been on the CAC, I think, about a year. And I also have a role of leading a arboretum here in San Antonio. So that's kind of what I do in my spare time.
Steve?
I'm Steve Bonnet. I'm a retired civil engineer, and Tom said he's been on the committee for about a year. I've been on the committee a little less than, whatever that is. Which is less, I guess, less than a year. And in that large position. And I'm like John said, drinking from the fire hose, and I'm still drinking, so.
Frank Gonzalez, representative for District 4. I was the inspector for safety and environmental for home builders and large construction projects. I am now a home builder with Beezer Homes, doing the exact same thing.
Richard Padias, I work with the Alamo Colleges District. I work for the foundation office, and I do fundraising for scholarships and whatever else we need money for. So been there in the organization for 17 years, long time. And I've been on the CAC for about a little longer than Tom, maybe a year and a half almost. Yeah. Welcome.
I'm Bill Day. I have been on the CAC, I think, for 7 years now. I do external communication for Frostbank, so I head up the corporate communication department there. Before that, I was at Valero Energy, so I have some background with energy on that side of the downstream refining and production.
See, technically, you're only supposed to serve 6 years, but Bill's done such a great job. Let him stay on for another year.
We're ready to modify the bylaw.
Richard was like, aren't you supposed to be done by now? Are you
I didn't say it like that. I didn't mean to say it.
Why are you still here?
All right. I guess we'll go ahead.
We have to move to the approval of the minutes.
Oh, okay, that's true.
We have other
I
people
think-
online that need to introduce themselves.
Oh, that's right, the ones, excuse me, see, good
Or you
catch.
did the original, did Andrew Pat over?
I'm sorry, online people. Online, Andra, Bob, did you introduce yourselves?
Yep. Hi, this is Andra Clapsaddle. I am retired Air Force and have been on the committee as an at-large member for about a year now. And currently just I do consulting work on the engineering side for the federal government in various areas.
Bob, can you give us a quick background, please?
I sure can, Sean. Hi, Aaron. This is Bob Zapata. I did meet you when you were introduced at the trustee meeting, but just to give you a little background on myself, I'm an engineer, currently retired, although I'm now working for some nonprofits within San Antonio. I've been on the CAC for a little over a year, I guess about a year, and real happy to do the work that we need to do in CAC, and I'm happy to have you aboard.
Anybody else in the room?
That is it. So it was Dr. Cantu, Andrea, and Bob.
And now we'll just transition over to the local government team. So it's good to see you again, sir. Yvonne Palaio, Local Government Relations. I'll pass it with, and just very glad that you were able to join us today in person. This is a very robust, insightful group. I know you're going to, learn a great deal, and we have some really good networking opportunities to come from it as well. Please know that the local government relations team is happy to provide you with any information or answer the questions that you may need. We will be sending you an onboarding book that was shared with the committee about less than a year ago. I want to say last October. That will be a great tool for you to use, and then we'll set up some time to walk you through it. Okay, so thank you.
Julia Names, I'm the manager for the local government relations team. I've been with the utility 2.5 years, so I'm still drinking through the fire. I joined right after you said you could imagine.
Oh, yeah.
I'll pass it over to Nancy.
Nancy Torrance, I am a project manager for 31 Suburban Cities. My colleague, Melissa Medeo-Hunt, is not here today. She's actually accepting a recommendation on behalf of local government developments. We divided content of 31 Suburban Cities, and Julia is inherited. Been with the company going on 18 years. So I have a life jacket now. I've been with the company for 31 years, with both government, 15 years.
Wow, that's a long tenure. All right, great.
All right, so Chair, if you are ready to proceed, if you have any other announcements, we can move on to our first agenda.
I think the only thing I want to say is our executive session is going to be, I think, quite important. And I would encourage everybody, the 3 folks that are online, if y'all would please plan to stay with us. I think it's going to be a very important executive session that we have everybody participate in. So I'd like to encourage everybody to stick with us through the end of this. Other than that, let's move on to the presentation.
All right. All right, everyone, good to see you all again. And, this presentation was requested by Dr. Azalita Cantu because in her service on the Rate Advisory Committee, this information was presented to the Rate Advisory Committee for them to take into consideration as they were taking on the rate design journey. And so, I'm very thankful that she brought this forward as a topic to share with the Citizens Advisory Committee, because I think this topic, as well as others to follow, are going to be key foundational topics for you to know and understand as we get closer to talking with the City of San Antonio about a rate request. Okay, energy burden, affordability, these are key, anchors, relative to rate design and rate request. These are things that weigh on everyone's mind. So again, this is going to be a great piece. And of course, we have our experts who are very familiar faces to you today that are going to present this information. So I encourage you to just soak it up and ask the questions that you may have. We can always bring them back to do a part 2 and answer additional questions and engage in dialogue with you. Because at their surface, these topics are not always as simple as they may appear on paper. So our lead presenter today is Ms. Laura Jacobs. She is no stranger to the Citizens Advisory Committee. She was here with Jesse Hernandez a few months back, talking about the various customer programs and customer support that we do. Again, Laura is our Senior Manager of Customer Advocacy. And also joining her today is Ana Lozano, also a familiar face in the Citizens Advisory Committee. She's our Director of Technology and Product Innovation. All of us work together very closely, local government, Ana's team, Laura's team, as we interact and serve the community. So without further ado, thank you for being here, Laura.
As Yvonne mentioned, I'm Laura Jacobs. I'm the Senior Manager of Customer Advocacy. It's such a wonderful thing to be able to even say that as a utility. Not many utilities have that as a focus. So thankful for CPS Energy in the city of San Antonio for allowing that to happen here. We'll talk about bill relief and its through customer programs. And so as we go through our agenda, we're going to talk about who are we serving in regard to our customer base. Additionally, what customer programs are available to those customer bases. And then describing the energy burden, right? And that customer outreach that's associated with energy burden. And so we need to have an understanding of who we're serving so we can understand how we can help them. And so by the numbers quickly, we have over 910,000 customer accounts, right? And, that's everyone in the city of San Antonio service area, pieces of our neighboring counties as well. And so part of that segmentation is our large and industrial grouping, which as you can see is a very small subset of that, but their loads are quite large, and our key account managers and our military support groups help support fiscally what rate structures that they're on, their loads that they need to be associated with, and just supporting construction and the demand needs. And then we have small and medium business, about 84,000 customers there, and then the bulk is our residential customers. And how do we serve those? I'll get to that in a little bit. So this is a snapshot of what our small to medium business customers look like. So that's a larger segment of our customer base. You can see what their average net kilowatt hours per bill is and what their average revenue for their billing is. And this segmentation does include, apartments, strip malls, just your local mom and pop shops, a lot of those, from salons to food industry to mechanics and so forth. And that group right there had been a group that had been underserved for a long time, right? Because typically the focus is you have your CAMs that are supporting the large industrial group, and then a lot of focus on residential support because that's the focus. So where does the small and medium business come into play? And how do they get supported? Go ahead.
Just a quick question. So this would include, you said strip centers, but this would include a small business that's run out of a converted house, a rezoned house, or even any kind of small business.
If they're zoned commercially and they're with commercial electric rates, yes. It also includes nonprofits and religious sectors. So your local St. Lutheran type of church, your nonprofit like Opportunity Home, Dress for Success, things like that all get served under the small to medium business.
Thank you.
And so for the support there, we created a team that is a concierge type support team. We have our energy to business team. They're a small hands-on mobile team that they serve our small and medium business customers. It makes doing business easier because CPS Energy has a lot of different departments that make it a little bit more intricate to get your footing about on how you start doing construction and so forth. And so these individuals can be that personal concierge, that POC to help navigate them through complex billing issues, or additionally, specific rate structures that they might need to look into. And what we've been doing more lately is formulating partnerships with nonprofits, and that will be in our next slide here. So they're very much aligned visually to what our objective is out in the community. It's a brand that they can't easily imposters can replicate. So they go out into the community and they meet business owners at their businesses, because it's hard for sometimes business owners to break away and come and meet us. So we make it very easy for them to come and do business with us because we'll go straight to them. And so we'll build partnerships with various nonprofits to help build up business acumen for customers, especially the small mom and pops. We have partnerships with Maestro, Lift Fund. There's various, especially during COVID, there had become a various amount of funding mechanism that were available to individuals that were either geographically located in a certain place, or they were a specific type of industry, whether it was like a bar or even daycare type services, or more recently, there has been funds that were approved by the city of San Antonio. If you are a business that was impacted by this long-term construction off of Broadway. And so
our energy to business gets connected through these things, creates communication campaigns. We have these NICS codes in our system to help determine what kind of industry that these small and medium business customers are, so we can go ahead and send those communications, proactively support our customers. And we also started to do these small and medium business fairs. So small businesses can come and network, learn from each other, learn from our partners, and learn from us, right? And so we want to be able to support them with various step type programs that would help reduce their bottom line, help build liquidity in their businesses.
Laura,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt, but just quickly, so how many, I know, do you have multiple teams for the BTV or they're just?
The ETV
ETVs?
are, I have one team,
just have
energy to
one?
business, and so.
So how many are they able to reach in a year's time?
Well, one of the things, well, they've done, we will do cases, right? And I think one year we've done about 600 cases, but we started the program right before COVID, and we started it with 3 individuals. And this group started to emulate the customer response unit. And I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with that, but I'll get into that in a little bit. Providing concierge, mobile case management type support. And then COVID hit and we lost 2 of our FTEs. And so we only had 1 person that was supporting all of this stuff. And then more recently, last year, we were able to hire back, to build up to the team of 3. So it's still, a team that's big, it's small, but it's making grand impact. One of the things that we changed some of the focus in regard to outreach and support and partnerships was we were coming back into the phase of disconnection, right? And so how was that going to impact small to medium business customers? And they were the ones that were going to be first in the disconnections list prior to residential. So what this energy to business team has been doing targeted communication prior to disconnection. So they've been calling and even showing up to the business, and they'll show up with a pamphlet full of information all in regard to our resources, our programs, our rebates, our custom step program opportunities to help them identify ways to reduce their bottom line, to get them on the appropriate type of payment plan, make an opportunity to negotiate a payment type size that was affordable to them. And so within 1 year's time, because it's been a year since we started that process, and I would want to say my FTE average for this last period was 2.5. We were able to collect to over $2.5 million in hard dollars that were received, not just payment plans, and very effective, right? So, for every FTE I get there, I can get $50 in, right? They pay for themselves. So, but they've been very impactful. The biggest part about that is not the revenue in, right, which is a huge, huge thing. It's the impact to the person, impact to the business owner, that we cared so much to go and send a representative of us to them and work something out. They literally will sit at the table, pull up their data, and show them where there's opportunity. Bring in people from Anna's team and Anna's contractor group to go and show the walk their building, and identify opportunities for retrofits and so forth to help reduce their demand load, help increase liquidity. There has been a very successful story recently with one manufacturing group that they were able to reduce their bottom load greatly enough to where they were able to provide AC into their other production facility and increase production because, employee comfort and being able to take care of the materials that they had in there. And so adding that new HVAC unit into their other facility created no adjustment into their billing, right? It was quick absorption. So otherwise they would have seen an increase. Their billables would have been increased and so forth. And so that's the thing that ETB will do. They'll go and they'll provide that considerate type care. And so the team is small. We are still looking at opportunities, and with all of these KPIs that we're able to produce, we are seeking additional opportunities to fill more headcount.
Seems like
there.
that kind of return on investment can get justified some more people.
You can say that a little louder.
You have it on recording. On recording.
So not to preempt your slides, and I apologize if this is, but where are you relative to your demand? In other words, you've got a capacity of 3 FTEs. What's your demand? Could you keep 5, 6, 10? Where is the demand for help with electric in small business?
The beauty of what we do is we go and embed ourselves into the community. You might not know that you might need our support, but you might see us and then you'll be inquisitive and then you'll approach us and we plug ourselves in different places in the community. There's a location Southside First that's in the District 3 area that we have satellite office in for our energy business. And so they promote it, the chamber promotes it, the Council 3 promotes it. And so we find different opportunities. We find opportunities for the bandwidth that we have. And so the more bandwidth or the more activities that we have, the more opportunities we're going to find to be embedded into the community. And so there's always that constant opportunity to help because there's just so many customers that are out there.
So the demand is really what you create, what you find versus people raising their hand saying, I need help.
Well, the demand is both, right? You know, the more people find out what energy business can do, the more of the demand that we start to get. And so there are times when if we do lose a head count that we have to reduce our channels in and we have to go ahead and try to help support our partners in self-service, right? And so we'll do those type of in-kind support mechanisms. So it's a little bit of ebb and flow, but with the customer response unit, as I get into that in a little bit, the demand there has grown pretty exponentially because there has been I like to call it addiction to what they can support and do in regard to our stakeholders is grown, right? You know, they've garnered that type of appreciation out in the community. And so it's been a constant to where, you know, we're getting feeders of requests for support. And so the energy business will follow the same suit as well.
It's interesting, you know, just to comment with respect to that kind of ROI, if you will, right? On spending, CPS spending dollars to hire people to retain that kind of revenue, as well as recover the potential lost revenue, right? That ROI seems pretty rich. So any idea why there isn't more investment there? I'm just curious if you have a sense of.
I wouldn't say that I think that there's a reason why that it hasn't been. It's about more proof of concept right now, right?
Oh, so you're that new.
Yeah, we started right before COVID and we lost people immediately and we were just a one-man show, essentially a one-person show. And so we were doing what we could. And so the last calendar year was the first calendar year.
Got
that
it.
we were
Okay.
stacked to the way that we were concepting it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So y'all are effectively kind of a startup.
Yeah, which emulates what our customer response unit is, and our customer response unit has been in the game for about 9 years. Next year will be their 10-year anniversary, and that team group was started with 4 people, and I've been able to successfully grow it to 10 people through the proof of concept and the ability to be able to be out in the community and support stakeholders and residents alike. So that's how our partnerships are facilitated here. And so getting into the customer aspect here, you can see our customer aspect is much smaller in regard to the net kilowatts per bill and the anticipated average revenue of those buildings. Alice is a new term. I'm not sure if y'all heard Alice yet, but I'll get into that a little bit more depthly later on. But you'll see that there's a segmentation of customers that are in poverty. And so in poverty is a specific federal poverty level. About 17% of our residential customers are living in that realm. And then there's an additional 35% that are in this Alice period here. Not, like I said, I'll get into that. So that creates a structure of what do we have to do in regard to help support and reach those customers and individuals above Alice, people that can afford their billing essentially. And so one of the items that we have right now is our affordability discount program, which we're capped at supporting 7% of our customer base with that. And when 17% of them are within that poverty range. And so 7% is relative to 65,080 customers that we currently have enrolled month over month. And we support our residential customers and our small, medium business customers and our large industrial customers with a myriad of various debt programs. And before equity became a huge utility focus, we were already working in the equity space unknowingly in that equity vein. We were already providing weatherization. We had home energy assessments previously. We've brought those back. You know, we now have included free HVAC tune-ups, discounted retail, you know, in locations that are specific to people of
that are in disadvantaged geographical areas. You know, you can find them in Dollar Tree before you had to go to a Home Depot or a Lowe's, right? And so that creates struggles with transportation. And so being able to be very methodical in the placement of our opportunities for discounted retail programs. And then we will go into the demand response and so forth for a myriad of opportunities for support and for our customers, depending on what their story is and what their needs are. And non-step programs, we have assistance and billing programs. Like I said, mentioned our affordability discount program. We have our veterans discounts. We have our REAP that we donate $1 million a year to. And so these are all the things that we in the organization can work with from a CPS Energy lens, right? Supporting our customers. These are the programs that we have to be able to choose and pick from in regard to supporting that customer and their need and regarding their current condition. So, going back into Alice and individuals that can't afford their energy bills, this is a quick heat map of what our previous consultant, Brattle, had supported us with in identifying individuals or geographical areas of inability to afford their energy bills, right, which is an energy burden. And an energy burden ultimately is an annualization of your income and what your energy bill is. So not ideally, but prospectively, if your energy bill annualizes 6% or greater than your annual income, that's burden. That's an energy burden. And so those are right at 6%. You might have those individuals that are the Alice individuals. If you have anything that's higher, you probably have the individuals that are within the poverty. Anything that's 5% or less are those individuals that are non-Alice. And we'll go into what Alice is here. Go ahead.
I have a question on that slide. If you could go back. Just want to be sure. If you could go, yeah, that one. Thank you so much. Just wanted to be sure those are zip codes, correct? Or no, or census tracts?
Census tracts.
These are census tracts. And the ones in the dark, red, because I see two.
You'll see that those are with a 75 to 100% energy burden.
Correct. That, yes. I was just wondering any descriptive about the area. I see the one down towards the center of town. I would imagine that's either 78237 or 07 in that census tract is in that zip code. But then that one on the far or going up west, I'm not sure of that zip code, or do you have any kind of a geographical description of what's that in that area?
I can follow up with you and tell you specifically where the census tracts are, just to give you that opportunity to look into it and ask any other questions that you might have. I don't have that information with me right now.
I'm geographically challenged, so that's why I asked.
As I am.
Yeah.
I'm also left and right challenged too, so don't ever tell me left.
Thank you.
That's right. Just point.
We can follow up with the slide.
Okay, thank you very much.
And the underlying data, if you could, I'm very interested in that as well.
Okay.
That'd be wonderful.
And all of this is based on quintile, and every quintile is about 130,000 individuals within that. So that's equal parts of households, not population.
What is the green? Is that Helotus? Is that a different energy provider?
It's government Canada.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Government Canyon.
Yeah.
Thank you, sorry.
Yeah, you'll see a little bit in the Lackland Kelly area too.
Only tents out there.
Yeah.
Yes. For clarification purposes, energy burden, meaning all utilities or just energy and gas, like electrical and gas?
This is energy and gas.
Energy and gas. Okay.
Yeah, electric and gas, sorry. So this right here is what Alice is. It's asset limited, income constrained employed. So these are the individuals that do have full-time jobs, that do not have assets like multiple houses, cars, things like that, and they're income constrained. So that means that they have to live within the budget. This also means that one paycheck that gets eroded for one reason or another, if they don't have sick time benefits and they're out for a week, or something major happens to where they need to do a home repair or a car repair, it's going to throw them off, right? If they may not be able to recover, it may take them a year or more to recover because they are so income limited that they don't have
ability, or they don't have much in savings, if anything at savings. So these are the types of customers that unfortunately probably don't qualify for SNAP benefits, WIC benefits, general utility assistance type benefits, because even with our CAC dollars, federal dollars that come from federal dollars that come into the state that are managed by Bexar County, their federal poverty level is at 150%. And so 150% for a household of four, it's really not much at all. I think it's, like $30,000 or so. So think about that annually. They won't qualify for that very beneficial type of utility assistance. They have to be able to have that affordability on their own. And so we have to make an adjustment for how we're supporting our residential customers that are within that federal poverty level, which was 17%, this extra 35% of Alice type customers, and how we connect with them. And so what we have been doing is looking for energy support strategies and how do we help enroll or auto enroll customers in. And so we'll continue to leverage our existing programs and support our customers, and we'll do items as opportunities for targeted outreach. And so targeted outreach for us means that we will be the last face that certain customers will see before they get disconnected. We'll do a 3-day blip essentially. We'll send out notifications to the customers, letting them know that you're going to be disconnected. And this is for the top 50 customers within the geographical area that we know that are impacted. And so our team will go in and provide calls. They'll go and provide a door hanger, letting them know that we are going to set up one of our mobile support units right in their communities. Wednesday. So this is on a Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday a disconnection happens. And so they've already received all their notices where they got their courtesy call, they got a follow-up call, they got a letter in the mail, letting them know that final disconnection is imminent. And then they get us, right? We'll go out there and we'll support in a grassroots effort, putting a door hanger on their door, letting them know that we want to be able to engage and help. The door hanger says we're here to help. And we'll provide that context for them, and additionally give them the opportunity to just simply come and meet us, right? We're down the street from them. We're at their local church or, a local, retail space to help them consolidate their bill, find an opportunity to get them utility assistance or other type of billing support opportunities, and then we'll help secure their account. Unfortunately, if they are non-responsive to all of those activities of our efforts, they will get disconnected that Thursday, unless we're in a moratorium as we are now.
What's an account disconnection block?
Blocks. Oh, that's when we secure the account.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. We will. Sorry.
What was that question?
Oh, what is account disconnection block, which is in the payment programs under installment plans?
Okay.
That's when so if a customer comes in and speaks to us and lets us know that there's an opportunity there, they have income that's pending maybe, or if we're there to help them fill out a utility assistance application and we know that all the documents have gone in, we'll put a block on their account to help secure it to allow for the pledge to occur.
Laura, I apologize again, but I don't know if this is in Anna's wheelhouse or not, but if you look at those poverty, Alice, and affordability, people who can afford, right? What are percent of those populations that are candidates for or have been disconnected, or maybe just bill delinquency? In other words, are the poverty ones the majority of our bill delinquents, or is it spread across? Give me a sense of what that
I think
distribution.
the last statistic that I saw in regard to ADP, right? ADP is the best one that we could do. ADP is 125% FPL for federal poverty
Okay,
level.
ADP.
Yeah, and so out of those customers, it was about 12% that were affordability discount program. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, that program, you have to be within 125% federal poverty level, which is quite low. It's lower than the CAC funding. Only 12% of those were eligible for disconnection. So it was a low amount. So there's just it's not data's not showing that it's just this population, because there's people that have prioritization for certain things or have the ability to prioritize a energy bill. So not everyone within a federal within a poverty level is subject to disconnection.
So sorry, I have one quick question. It seems like this, even despite all y'all's positive effort and good intentions, it seems like this could be potentially a contentious situation in some cases. Do y'all ever run into that sort of problem? I would be
Very-
concerned.
Very slightly, not often at all. Honestly, most people, and I'm going to tell you my stories, right? Because I've been out there as well. I've been out there knocking on doors with team members. Most people, they'll see us and they'll drive up and they immediately know. They immediately know why we're there, right? Because it's a bill that they've known that they have not been able to afford for quite a bit of time. And so they see us and they think one thing. They think that we're there to disconnect. And so you'll get one or two things, right? You know, they'll come up and they'll be just embarrassed, for lack of a better term, you know, embarrassed, and they'll articulate that, you know, they're embarrassed that they got to this point. But you diffuse it immediately by the right words that you say. You say that we're here to help, and you're armed with their information. You know, you might go over there and say, you know, hi, Mr. Hernandez, you know, we see that, you know, you have about this much. We think that you might be able to qualify for X. You know, we can help you down the street, or we can schedule an appointment to come back, whatever's best for you, right? And so if you go in there with the right empathic, you know, approach, you get a lot more of lack of defense in regard to why you're there, right? And so I haven't had much of a scenario where people just were angry that we were there. It's more of a showcase why you're there, and all guards are let down and you're able to help. And it's the opportunity to show up and be there. And if we had a more opportunity to do that, I think that we would be able to impact a lot more of the community in this effect. But we try to do our best with mass communication campaigns, flyers, door hangers, our social media content, net geographing to help support enrollment in our program. So we do have a large net out there, but that personal effect tends to turn a lot of skepticism. Additionally, just, you know, perception of a utility brand, right? And additionally, that's what our partnerships also do, right? You know, whenever we're able to make partnerships with Opportunity Home, with University Health Center, CareLink, things like that, when our partners are talking about the support that they can get to us, it's more of a trusted opportunity for them to go ahead and engage with us. So we'll take, so we take all of these approaches in regard to enrollment investment. So we'll even create the MOUs with our partners to help and auto enroll their client base into our programs, and then cross-reference their eligibility requirements to multiple programs that we might have. Yes, sir.
My understanding that you have smart meters deployed throughout your service territory. Have you thought about taking advantage of that data to use that in your outreach strategy, or trying to figure out, hey, these might be good people to target because they're anomalies in terms of their energy use? So the energy burden is one thing, but they may be outliers from their consumption, and that's a wealth of data you could use to.
Yeah, that's one thing that we are working on. We are currently partnering, and not me, we have a wonderful analytics team within Deanna Hardwick's group that supports customer experience in that area. Obtains all the data that we can use to help strategize. And I'll get into some of the data that they've been able to provide and strategize for us. But one of the things that we're looking forward to is BCAD data. And once we have BCAD data to be able to determine square footage of house, then we can identify potential anomalies of overconsumption potentials. Yes, sir.
So I'm glad this program exists, because this provides a temporary relief to our current client base. But what are we doing about preventative measures? If we see it that this might be an outlier, like what can we do to prevent that from going that way?
Yeah, so preventative measures, and I'm going to go into, I believe our next slide, was where we try to provide a bundled support, right? The bundled support ties in our programs, right? You know, where if we're working with the customer, we identify them as having a larger rearage, and we show up to their house maybe, and we see that there might be an opportunity for us to do some passive in there. You know, that's a preventative measure to where if they're using less energy, then their billing will not be as high, right? Additionally, many of our wonderful partners, we have nearly 200 of our agency partners that we're able to connect. There's individuals that we talk with, and they, you know, it's an obvious thing that they might need some budget support. You know, there's the city of San Antonio has a fiscal literacy, a financial literacy type class. We'll recommend those. We were working recently with workforce, Texas workforce, in getting individuals or providing support for jobs, for individuals that we're working with that are unemployed. There's different opportunities in here to where if they can get enrolled in the right programs, learn a few things, maybe there's an opportunity for them to, not be a repetitive customer into the programs, but not really just taking this on as a CPS Energy burden, but providing them a myriad of resources that might fit whatever needs that they might be. And it might just be a personal situation, right? It may not be a chronic issue. We have stories within our customer response unit. They're a mobile brand, a mobile team as well. They're highly branded, and they go out and they support the residential customer. And so there's individuals that have issues where they're hospitalized, and they lost their electricity. The state of Texas will not release you unless you have energy at your home. And our customer response unit will show up in the hospital and help them work through their billing, get them energized, and then so they can be released. There are individuals that are suffering from some type of depression because of a loss or something, and there might be an opportunity for us to use, one of our affiliates here. There was one case where someone had lost one of their toddlers. We connected them with anything we can, and gotten them the support, the utility assistance, and then just the anguish support for them. And so these things are not always a chronic issue. It's us taking the time to listen to their story, identifying what that need is based on their story, and making those connections. And the great thing about the customer response unit is that they don't just read these programs on paper and say go here or go there or whatnot. They learn the requirements and the requisites of enrollment of these programs. They actually formulate partnerships with these people. They know people in these organizations. And so we create that mutual benefit opportunity to where if they receive a client member that is having some type of issue with the utility, then they can refer to us directly and we'll help resolve that issue so they can help their client member. Additionally, when they receive an application from us, they know that it's a full and fully complete application and they can go ahead and process it. That there's not much vetting that's needed for that application, because they know that we know the rules of engagement and that application has been submitted whole and complete.
Thank you. I was about to say the same thing. Two things. We're getting tight on time. So before you kind of accelerate a little bit through your last two slides, I did want to give Dr. Adelita Cantu an opportunity to chime in. Dr. Cantu, I think you were trying to ask a question a few minutes ago.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
Were you trying to ask a question a few minutes ago?
Yes, just that was something else. But this one, you say over 200 agency partners, so you probably already do this. But I also wanted to say, I don't see here like a logo on faith-based organizations, and you may already partner with them. But those small churches, the small parishes, the secretaries there, the priests, do hear a lot of this information from people that are having some burden with that. And then also, I know I've been at Good Samaritan Community Center where people have just walked in and told them I can't pay. So those small community centers as well. And again, you may already have that. Just wanted to say that as well. Thank you.
We partner very in-depthly with Daughters of Charity, Catholic Charities, Christian Assistance Ministries. There's GRASP, which is the greater Randolph area. There's lots of different areas. This was, I probably have, 5 different slides and a bunch of tiny logos if I listed all of them. But we do, and we also take referrals. We talk, so if you have any organizations that you want to verify or make sure that we are partnering with, please send them. We'll go ahead and make those, we'll build those bridges, and we'll make sure that they're part of our grouping where we meet organizations all the time. And so it's through the kindness of y'all, if y'all have needs, y'all can definitely send them to us, and we'll be there and we'll support, and we'll create an opportunity for mutual benefit.
So Laura, one more quick question from Tom Corser, and then we need to accelerate through those last 2 slides, okay?
When you're done with those last 2 slides, right? We've got to figure out how to get down and not to talk so much. But I want you to answer the question, what can we, the CAC, do for you? Well, you can go through the last 2 slides if you'd like, whatever you'd like.
Yeah, I would say just, send us your referrals, right? If there is a customer that that does need our type of in-kind support, don't hesitate to send that to us. We'll go ahead and make those connections and help that community member. Additionally, if there's nonprofits out there that you want to make sure that we're partnering with, send those our way too. We'll go ahead and definitely support the community in both aspects. And so just neighborhood outreach, this is how we go out and we're supporting the community. This is our mobile support center. It has opportunity to have mobile offices inside. We'll, in our events, we'll take energy advisors out with us, our customer response unit, and we'll pop up, so this is a really huge billboard and it's real easy for community members to come and see us. It adds to our myriad of different type of engagements that we have, like our community fairs, our satellite office hours, and whenever we're doing partnerships with engagements with our partners. And just a quick fact, last year in FY 2023, we had 2023 engagements. So that means about 6 times a day, for 365 days, we were somewhere. So, that's a very huge number, and that's with the team that we have right now. And so, like I said, our limitedness is based on our FTE impact. And so this is what our targeted outreach, this is our 3D blitz that I just mentioned before, so I can quickly just show you how we go out there with stage and we're speaking to community and we're trying to get them to help. We're trying to provide them the help that we know that they need. And our weatherization right here, it's another opportunity for us to use the energy burden census data. We find different tracks and different neighborhoods that we can go ahead and conduct a drive-through there or do grassroots block walking to various housing stock that's there and support community members in applying for weatherization. And then we've also added our new energy burden calculation there. So to help with those ALICE type customers. So they may not have afforded, been able to qualify in normal means of the 200% FPL, but they have showcased a 10% energy burden, then they'll be able to income qualify for weatherization, which is a great benefit. It provides over $500,000 in free measures to their home to help reduce their energy bill. That's all I have.
Thank you so very much. As you all can see, this is a very, using my language, it's a meaty, it's a very beefy topic. And I would be more than happy, to bring Laura or Anna back, at any particular time to answer any additional questions, or give you any updates along this front. I know that with the STEP program, we have a lot of new things coming, the STEP program, the new STEP program that was approved by City Council is about to have its 1-year anniversary on August 1st. It will be the subject of conversation on the board meeting on the July 31st. So please tune in for that. Again, happy to bring them back for a part 2 at any time.
I just want to plug in one last thing. And at 1 o'clock today, there's an organization that's a national organization called Chartwell, and they're a utility type of forum. They're going to be announcing that CPS Energy is won the gold standard for helping support vulnerable communities. So.
You can imagine, Laura, how this topic is a center of this group, right? And so I was very intentional to ask you, what can we do? Because we're here as an interface between CPS and our utility base, right? Be it business or residential. So understanding that pulse is really important for this group.
I would say send us your challenging customer, right? The customer that is stating that, CPS Energy has done nothing for them. And I challenge you to send them to us and so they can see how impactful we can be for them.
Okay, so. I know we're tight on time. I just want to say I'm so glad that y'all are presenting today because the last time you were here, I want to thank you all because I went back to my parents. My parents take care of my disabled sister, who's almost 60. They're in their 80s. They are in a very fixed income situation and very, very tight. And they did Casa Verde 7 or 8 years ago. And I told them we had a great presentation. They're like, oh, we did that. We can't do it again. It's like, no, you can. I found out. They have had nothing but great things to report about Casa Verde. And last month, which is one of the hottest months, I think, ever in the history of the world. They also have the solar panels on their roof from the program you guys discussed. It was a short-term program that are owned by CPS. Yeah, Solar Host. They get a credit back because they host solar panels that go out into the community. They had such great effect from the weatherization that they actually got almost $100 credit. Their bill was $100 in their favor. They didn't have a bill. So they it works, so thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we typically will weatherize a home if it's been 10 years, but I would say for your parents, we need to sign them up for our home energy assessment program and see if there's anything that we could recommend for the house.
And they were difficult customers, so I see. Now they have been maybe in the, but now they're evangelized.
Thank you all very much for your
Thank you,
time.
Laura.
I just have one question, Laura, real quick. If we wanted, if we're having an event and maybe that, like that mobile unit out, do we talk to Jesse?
Or Yvonne, they'll all know pathways to us, so.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you again for being here. Congratulations on your.
This month. This month until next
Until
month.
next month, right?
So just be ready. We're setting new records all the time.
Yeah, it's
Thank you all very much. I'm just so glad that we have energy provided by a municipal utility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad I don't live in Dallas. Okay, roundtable, we're gonna, I think our executive session, let's see, potentially it may run long, so I guess let's try to be brief, but Tom, I wanted to give you an opportunity. You have been very patient over the last 3 months, I think, waiting to really kind of make a point about some suggestions that you had about our presenters and what they need to bring to us in the way of what we can do to help.
It's very simple. I'm proposing that we ask every presenter that comes in, just like the fine ladies who came in today, to have a single slide for each presentation to say what you want the CPS customer to know, right? Just so it's very succinct and clear to us what we want, what they, the presenter, want the customer to know. What we, what CPS customers should do and why. In other words, what action do we want to motivate them? Can we help there? And then the last question is the most important one, the same one I asked Laura. What can we do to help?
So you're
Right.
right. You want that each slide, you want a slide at the end that's our call to action.
Correct.
From them. That
Well,
makes sense.
also their call to action for us and yeah, their call to action for us. Yes. What do we want customers to know? What can we do to help? Right? So if there's nothing, that's fine, right? That was good information, maybe, but I think it's important that we activate the presenters that come in front of us with a mission to say, I got to answer this question. What do we want them to do, right? Because that makes them think about, okay, do I want to ask them something? If so, what is it, right? And then I think if for us to accept that, to ask them to do that, we've got to be acceptant of that ask. So we've got to be ready to say, okay, what are we going to do about that, right? So I think it's important that we deliberate on that and make sure we're serious, because I don't want to have them go through that thought process and come up with this ask and then have us fall down on it. That's it.
Yeah, I think the proactivity that might come out of that for the CAC would be useful. I think I sort of feel like, and I'll just speak for myself, that I'm probably not reaching out into the community as well as I should be reaching out to try to make that connection between CPS and the ratepayers and the citizens. And
But this would give us
I think
a mission to go do that.
this will help us focus better. A lot of times we just are not aware of things that we could do better.
So anyway,
I like
that's my.
that.
Yeah, ideally, bottom line, come out with action items that are documented in our minutes, that we followed up on.
But action items sourced by staff, not by us.
Well, the staff says, here's what we need to do, and then we interpret that as being saying, okay, these are the action lines that we're going to take now to address them.
As long as we keep in mind that we don't work for staff, like
That's right.
we're independent,
Right.
and we represent both CPS Energy and the ratepayers and customers.
Mhm.
So I don't want it structured like, here's our marching orders from staff,
Yeah,
we're
we're
gonna go do it.
Yeah.
bridging the gap.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we also got to be mindful, and I was very kind of hesitant to do this initially, because I don't want to kind of enable the road of mission creep.
Right.
Which is what you're implying, right? So we got to be very mindful of who we are and why we are, right? In our minds and in CPS's mind, right? Such that we don't end up with a role that makes no sense. That's a good point. I'm all
I
for
will
it.
add on everyone's topic. I understand that we're trying to get everybody, but every business company I've been a part of that try to have the same mindset always misses the mark where there's no way to scale it and there's no way to fund it for future unless you add an impact score and you be intentional of where that impact is coming from. Especially if we're getting federal and local grants to refund this program because it's on a grant base or pilot program status. Nonprofits know that they have to have some kind of impact score somewhere. And since we're getting most of our funding from the city and measures from clients, we have to put in reason why we're doing it in the first place and where we're finding our most impact. I'm all for helping everybody, but I'd rather help the ones that need the help first, prioritize them before we help anybody else. So that will help us with our biggest impact score.
Frank, I think I'm missing your point.
Mhm.
Are you talking about this proposal or are you talking about programs that staff comes in and talk to us about?
Overall.
I'm still not getting it.
So like for the Casa Verde program, every year get renewed. They ask for how many we actually helped, how many houses we helped out,
Okay.
and what impact did we have on that specific house for that specific calendar year.
Okay.
With that data, once it's recorded, we have to give it to them. Hey, this is the money you let us borrow. Here's our ROI for this program, and we're seeing an increase if we keep doing this.
Are you talking about holistically, or you're talking about this committee's impact on that impact score? Because, okay, but to me, that's a different topic.
Yes.
It's a relevant topic, but it's a different topic.
Yeah.
Or Frank, are you suggesting that we have a number 4 there and say, report out your metrics?
Yes.
You are suggesting
Yes.
that. Okay. So that is in addition to that. So I think what he's saying is have that one slide with those 3 points and then a 4th with relevant metrics.
Yes.
Okay.
Relevant
Now I
metrics
understand.
for us?
No, for the program that
the
they're
program
talking
stuff.
about.
Not for us.
I see.
CPS
Okay,
program,
okay,
yeah.
gotcha. Yeah.
Because it's very hard to score ourselves and
Okay.
recording all our referrals.
Yeah.
Thank you. Making note of that right now. So just give me just a second.
Good.
All right.
And I think,
All right.
I know we want to respect our guests, but I think we got to talk about that a little bit more.
Do we want to?
I'm not comfortable with number 4 being added on there, the way stated. I think we got to think through that a little bit more because I don't want to have nobody come in here because, man, these guys are asking too much. I want to make sure we're clean about that ask. See what I mean? It's a good ask. It's just, we got to be clean about that.
Well, perhaps for consideration, if the committee is in agreement with 1, 2, and 3, we proceed with that for now. And at the next meeting, you can discuss number 4.
Yeah. So maybe we can talk a little bit about what 4 would be and we'll add that on later on. Is that
Yeah, I
okay?
kind of like that idea. I think that gives us time to ruminate on what Frank's suggesting there.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
You
It's
can
just that
always
we
add.
got to be clean.
Yeah, you can always add, so that's
Yep.
okay. All right, anything else before we move on
Yeah,
to the
is there
executive session?
anybody else got any other topics they wanted to talk about before we move into the executive session? Because I know it's going to be a robust discussion. Anybody else? Okay. All right, I guess at this point, then we would like to close the open part of the meeting and go into executive session.
Correct, thank you, Chair Kelly. So now the committee will be moving into executive session. There'll be no votes taken, no decisions made.
No recording.